Vandeham.
The following is a class on Bhagavad Gita as it is, Chapter 3, text number 31 to 43, given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on 1st January 1969 in Los Angeles.
Sri Gurum Vaishnava.
Reading the Bhagavad Gita as we did, chapter entitled Karma Yoga, page 104, verse 31. One who executes his duty according to my injunction and who follows this teaching faithfully becomes free from the bondage through his actions. Therefore, this injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom.
Yes. What is Vedic wisdom? Vedishta sadvi ahameva vidyam. Knowledge. Veda means knowledge. What is perfect knowledge? Perfect knowledge is that my constitutional position is to serve. Bring any man in this world who can say that I am not servant. Is there any man or woman within this world, within this universe, who is not a servant? Can any one of you say that you are not servant? Is there anyone? Everyone is servant. Somebody is servant of the society, somebody is servant of the country, somebody is servant of his wife or family, or some cats and dogs, ultimately. One must be a servant. So, when a man comes to this knowledge that I am serving, so why not serve the Supreme? This is knowledge. This is perfection of it. Nobody can be freed from being a servant. Either you become a servant of God or you become a servant of dog. You must be a servant. So the intelligent person, a wise person, he prefers to servant of God instead of becoming servant of dog. There is no escape that one is master. Nobody is master. Everyone is servant. Therefore, one who executes his duties according to my injunction, God's injunction, and who follows the teachings faithfully becomes free from bondage. As soon as you become servant to somebody besides God, then you are in bondage. You are in obligation. Obligation there is, but that is not bondage. To become servant of God is not bondage. But servant of dog is a bondage. So, the intelligent person is he who knows that I am servant. Oh, why not become servant of the greatest? Just like somebody wants to be worker in government service. Why? Because government is very big establishment, great establishment. He has got many facilities. There is not bondage. Similarly, why not become the servant of the supreme government? That is perfection of knowledge. So long we are not servant of God, that means we are deficient in knowledge. And perfect knowledge is to become servant of God. Because you cannot escape by not being a servant. Everyone has to become a servant, this side or that side. Go on.
As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many so-called philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness.
Yes. In the beginning, there may be some failure. That is quite natural. Just a child is trying to stand. He may fall down. But that does not mean he should give up the idea. Go on. A time will come when he will be perfect. So we should not give up this business to try to serve the Supreme. May be imperfect in the beginning, but stick to it. And a time will come when you will be perfect. Krishna conscious.
32. But those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not practice them regularly ought to be considered bereft of all knowledge, be fools, and doomed to ignorance and bondage.
Yes. If somebody says, oh, why shall I serve God? All right, then he shall have to serve dog. That's all. Therefore he is befooled. He does not know that he has to serve somebody. His constitutional position is like that. He cannot escape. So therefore, if he denies to serve God, Krishna, then he has to serve Maya, illusion, in the hope that I have become the master. Just like in your country, the President Johnson was the master. Actually, he was not the master. He was the servant of the country. Now the country has dismissed him. He is no longer master. So our mastership in this material world is like that. Actually, we are servant, but we are thinking master. In a family, I am servant of my wife, I am servant of my children, I am servant of my servants, but I am thinking I am master. I am master of this family. I am master of this country. I am master of this society. Nobody is master. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says therefore, the master is only Krishna. Ekulak Ishar Krishna Arsha Bhritta. Only Krishna or God is master and everyone is servant. Jare jaiche nachaye se toiche kar nitta. Each servant is dancing according to the order of the Supreme. That's all. Nobody is master. So this false conception of becoming master is called Maya, illusion. Nobody is master. Therefore, one who disagrees to become servant of God, he is befooled. It is there. But those who, out of envy, he is constitutionally servant, but he is envious. Why shall I become God's servant? I shall become God. You see, everyone is claiming, oh, everyone is God. Why? What is the use of becoming servant of God? I am God. This is enviousness. So, if one refuses to serve God and becomes envious, disregard these teachings and do not practice them regularly, are to be considered bereft of all knowledge. Because he is servant. But he is thinking, I am master, I am not serving anyone. This is Maya, bereft of all knowledge. Go on.
33. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows his nature. What can repression accomplish?
So at least he is servant of his nature. There are three kinds of material modes of nature. Somebody is in goodness, somebody is in passion, somebody is in ignorance. So in ignorance, somebody say he is intoxicated. He is servant of some intoxication. But he is thinking after being intoxicated, I am God. I am master. You see? This is called befooling. He is befooled. He is servant of intoxication and he is thinking I am God. Just see. Is it not a farce? By meditation, he will become God. If you are God, why you are meditating? Therefore, they are befooled. The direct process is take to Krishna consciousness, I am eternal servant of God. Let me take to this business. Finish. Perfect knowledge. Go on.
34. Attraction and repulsion, the sense objects, are felt by embodied beings. But one should not fall under the control of senses and sense objects, because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. 35. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though they may be faulty, than another's duties. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duty, for to follow another's path is dangerous. 36. Arjuna said, all descendants of Vishnu, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
Here, Krishna says that destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duty, for to follow another's path is dangerous. Now, Arjuna was a military man, a Kshatriya. His business was to fight for the good cause. But in the battlefield, he thought that why should I engage myself in this killing business? Better retire from it. If I don't get my kingdom, I shall rather beg. This begging business is for us, just like we are sannyasi or a Brahmin. We are allowed to beg. We are not, of course, begging as professional beggar, but we introduce ourselves as beggar. The Vedic culture is that a sannyasi, when he comes to beg in a householder's house, he receives him very respectfully, and whatever he wants, they want to supply. But they do not want anything. But the introduction is that they take this opportunity of sitting in a householder's home and talk about Krishna consciousness. That is their real business. They are not beggars. Anyway, this begging business is not for a householder or a military man. Therefore Krishna says that don't try to imitate the business of a sannyasi or a Brahmin. You are Kshatriya. Your duty is to fight. So you should follow your own prescribed duty. Don't try to imitate others. But one can attain perfection by being engaged in his own occupation, provided he does it in Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is asking him to fight. And he is a professional fighter. So if he fights in accordance with the order of Krishna, there is his perfection. This is the purpose. Go on.
A living entity, as part and parcel of the Supreme Personality, is originally spiritual and pure, as well as free from all contaminations of matter. Therefore, by nature, the living entity is not subjected to the sins of the material world. But factually, when the living entity is in contact with the material nature, he acts in many sinful ways without hesitation. As such, Arjuna's question to Krishna is very sanguine as to the perverted nature of the living entity. Although the living entity sometimes does not want to act in sin, he is still forced to act. This force is not, however, impelled by the super soul living within the living entity, but must be due to other causes. And that is explained in the next verse by the Lord. 37. The Blessed Lord said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material modes of passion, and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world."
Yes. Passion, if you increase your passion, then when you cannot fulfill your passion, you will be angry, wrath, one after another. So, this is due to our being situated in the modes of passion. As I have told you, there are three kinds of modes of material nature. One is goodness, one is passion, and one is ignorance. So, ignorance is the lowest quality. Passion is still better than ignorance. And goodness is the highest good quality within this material world. And one has to transcend even goodness. Then he can go to the Krishna consciousness platform. So, one should not remain on the platform of passion. He should try to rise on the platform of goodness, and from there he should try to be promoted in Krishna consciousness. This is one method. But if you take to Krishna consciousness directly, then automatically you transcend the platform of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Go on.
38. As fire is converted by smoke, as fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, similarly, the living entity is covered by different degrees of this lust.
Lust. Different degrees of lust. Those who are in the modes of goodness, their lust is a different quality. Those who are in passion, their lust is in different quality. Those who are in ignorance, their lust is different. It is the question, just like there are first-class prisoners, second-class prisoner, and third-class prisoner. So, after all, they are prisoners. Maybe first class, second class, or third class. That doesn't matter. Similarly, within this material world, somebody may be very learned, rich, beautiful, and all good qualifications in the modes of goodness. So, they are somebody in passion and somebody in lower degree, or even animal life. But they are all prisoners within this material world. One has to transcend this position. One has to transcend even the so-called goodness of the material world. Just like Arjuna was trying to be so-called good man of this material world. He was trying to avoid the injunction of Krishna. Krishna wanted him that he should fight this Kurukshetra battle. But he wanted to be good man. So, that fighting, when he was convinced of Krishna's instruction, this Bhagavad Gita, that means he transcended even the goodness platform of this material world. So Krishna is trying to raise him to the Traigunna Visaya Veda Nistraigunna Bhavarjan. This whole material atmosphere is surcharged with three modes of material nature. So one has to transcend the modes of material nature. Just like one should not try to become a first-class prisoner. In the prison house, if one is a third-class prisoner and one is first-class prisoner, the third-class prisoner should not aspire that let me remain in this prison house and become a first-class prisoner. That is not good. One should transcend the prison walls or come out of the prison house. That is his aim. Go on.
There are three degrees of covering of the pure living entity, and thereby the pure consciousness of the living entity, or Krishna consciousness, is embarrassed by non-manifestation. This covering is but lust, under different manifestations, like smoke in the fire, dust on the mirror, and the womb about the embryo. When lust is compared to smoke, it is understood that the fire of the living spark can be a little perceived. In other words, when the living entity exhibits his Krishna consciousness slightly, he may be likened to the fire covered by smoke. Although fire is necessary when there is smoke, there is no overt manifestation of fire in the early stage. This stage can be compared with the beginning of Krishna consciousness. The comparison of the dust of the mirror refers to the cleansing process of the mirror of the mind by so many spiritual methods. The best process is to chant the holy names of the Lord. The comparison of the embryo being covered by the womb is an analogy illustrating the most awkward position, for the child in the womb is so helpless that it cannot even move. This stage of living condition can be compared also to the trees. The trees are living entities, but they have been put into that condition of life by such a great exhibition of lust that they are almost void of all consciousness.
Yes. These trees, we should know that the trees, they are also living entities. But they have been put in such awkward position that they are standing up in a position for thousands of years. They cannot move even. If somebody is cutting, cannot protest. They have been put into such conditional life. If somebody is coming to do some harm, they cannot go away. So, the most abominable conditional life is the trees. Go on.
The covered mirror is compared to the birds and beasts, and smoke-covered fire is compared to the human being.
Yes, the birds and beasts, they can move. They can protect themselves from somebody who is coming to harm. But still, they have no knowledge. They seem a little better than the trees. Gone.
In the form of a human being, the living entity can perceive a little Krishna consciousness. And if he makes further development, the fire of spiritual life can be kindled in the human form.
Yes.
By careful handling of the smoke and the fire can be made to blaze.
Yes. When the fire is covered by the smoke, if you little fan over it, then immediately there is blazing fire, immediately smoke is gone. Similarly, Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is in every living entity, especially human being, there is, even in the aborigines, those who are called uncivilized. They are also offering some respect to the seas, to the thunderbolt, to a big mountain, something wonderful, they offer, they bow down. That means there is Krishna consciousness. So that's like a fire covered with smoke. Now if you fan it, if you just try to eradicate the smoke, the fire will come out. So we should take advantage. We have got now this consciousness, God consciousness. Therefore, in every human society, there is some sort of religious propaganda. Try to understand God. So we should take advantage of it. But instead of taking advantage of this opportunity, we have declared God is that, I am God, this God, that God. So you are not finding. You are rather going more and more away from God. This should not be done.
Therefore, the human form of life is a chance for the living entity to escape the entanglement of material existence. In the human form of life, one can conquer the enemy, lust, by culture of Krishna consciousness under able guidance. 39. Thus, a man's pure consciousness is covered by his internal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. 40. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust, which veils the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
Yes, this is very important. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. If somebody is lusty, and if one has to search out where that enemy lust is there, so Krishna is giving you direct information, here is your enemy. Where? Senses, mind, intelligence, there is lust. So if you can understand, here is the enemy, and if you try to drive out the enemy, you take precaution. What is that precaution? You engage your senses in Krishna conscious activities. The lust will have no more place to attack your senses or sit on your senses. You engage your mind in Krishna. Immediately, the lust from the mind will go away. Similarly, you apply your intelligence, how to work on Krishna consciousness. These are the processes. The Krishna consciousness movement is like that. Apply your intelligence, apply your mind, apply your senses only for Krishna, and there is no more lust. You are free. There is no sitting place. Just like this glass. There is water. So how you can put in ink? Because there is no sitting place. Similarly, if you place Krishna in your mind, so lust will automatically go away. Just like if you place light in this room, the darkness automatically will go. There is no place for darkness. Krishna is light. The sun is light. As soon as there is sun rising, the whole darkness of night automatically disappears. So try to place Krishna in your mind, in your sensual activities, in your intelligence, then there will be no more lust. It will finish. Go on.
41. Therefore, Arjuna, best of the Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, curved the great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses and slay the destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
Yes. So, regulating, how can you regulate the senses? Not by artificial means. The yoga practice, of course, is meant for controlling the senses. But nobody can practice in this age perfectly yoga, neither one can control the senses. But this is practically. Just like our sense, tongue. We want to taste very palatable dishes. Now you supply palatable Krishna prasadam. You forget going to hotel immediately. This sort of process is in Krishna consciousness. We don't simply prohibit that you don't do this. But we supply something which is engaged by the senses and the mind, the intelligence, so that you do not require to be engaged otherwise. Positive and negative. Simply negative is no good unless there is positive engagement. So Krishna consciousness is positive engagement. So there is no question of negative. Negative is already there. If you are taking nice food stuff, then automatically you give up obnoxious and nonsense food stuff. But if I say, don't take this food stuff, this is not good, and if I don't supply you nice food stuff, naturally you are hungry, you will have to take whatever is there. Just like sometimes you have seen the dogs, they are eating stool, their own stool. So I was talking this, one of my students told me that in the last war in the concentrated camp, the human being, they also ate their stool out of hunger. You see. There was no food, so they ate their own stool. So when there is no opportunity of good occupation, one must be satisfied with this nonsense occupation. So this Krishna consciousness is so nice that one who is occupied with this movement, he cannot go anymore to so-called lusty and other nonsense occupation. Go on.
42. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
So we have to come to the platform of soul. Generally, we are on the dull material platform of this body. And this body means senses. And this center of all these senses is the mind. And the mind is also controlled by intelligence. And when you go above the platform of intelligence, then you come to the platform of spiritual soul or Krishna consciousness. That is your position. So one has to try to transcend all these three stages of material platform and then come to the spiritual platform. Yes.
43. Thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses, mind, and intelligence, one should control the lower self by the higher self, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. Purport. This third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is conclusively directed to Krishna consciousness. Through knowing oneself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without considering impersonal voidness as the ultimate goal, ultimate end. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by propensities of lust and desire for dominating the resources of material nature. Such desire for overlording and sense gratification are the greatest enemies of the conditioned soul. But by the strength
Generally, those who are under the bodily concept of life, they are struggling day and night. Why? To have overlordship of this material nature. This is material activity. And those who are on the mental platform, they are trying to philosophize, mental speculation. Those who are still intelligent, they are taking to this yoga practice by intelligently trying to controlling the senses. But as soon as you come to the spiritual platform, automatically these things are done. Because all your senses, mind and intelligence are occupied by Krishna consciousness. God. Yes, God.
One may not give up work and prescribed duties all of a sudden, but by gradually developing one's Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in a transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and the mind, by steady intelligence directed toward one's pure identity. This is the sum total of this chapter. In the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculations and artificial attempts to control the senses by the so-called practice of yogic postures can never help a man toward spiritual life. He must be trained in Krishna consciousness by a higher intelligence. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of karma yoga, or the acting of one's prescribed duty in Krishna consciousness.
Thank you.